shipping right there next to the, I visited the Nissan factory. The Nissan factory is right on the coastline, not too far from Tokyo, on a bullet train. And, of course, they could be severely affected if the production buildings get affected by a tsunami. And it's at sea level as well. One of the factories was the, I can't remember, I think it was the Infinity factory that is right there on the water.
Can we start Bill? I wonder if Bill's still out there.
Bill, our producer in Hawaii, we're trying to get him back.
He was evacuating inland.
Yeah, I was wondering what that looks like for them there.
You know, did you notice when Shelley from Hawaii was talking to us about the hotels, she talked about concrete reinforced hotels, and if you're in such a building, you could go to the third floor and remain, you know, higher above ground in case the water moves in. But it's such an interesting concept, concrete reinforced.
Remember the Indonesian tsunami when we watched that water come ashore, and people on the upper floors taking videos of the waves crashing through the pool area.
Right.
And people.
But doesn't that come to your mind with Hawaii? That comes to your mind there. Oahu, Waikiki,
right.
All the tall buildings. You're thinking about the water coming in right there. That's what comes to mind in that area. Or maybe Maui, which is not the tall buildings. Not the same, quite the same.
Do you all want to answer some questions with me on Twitter here? I'm getting a lot of questions that I think you all can help me.
Are you asking us?
Yes, I'm asking you all.
Okay.
Here's one from Jen. Are LA and OC coastal cities being advised to move inland?
No.
No, not yet.
No.
We're in the watch. The next step would be an advisory, and the advisory would then follow. I think a warning would then follow the advisory.
Right.
But we are right now in a watch.
And it doesn't look as though we're going to get that far. A watch, and when we spoke to people from the Tsunami Warning Center, the Pacific Tsunami Warning Center, they said that what they expect us to see is strange currents. It's kind of some different things happen on our coastline. However, I can't remember who it was who spoke to you, who said, this isn't the time to go down to, I think it was Lucy.
I think it was.
Yeah, Lucy said, don't go to the beach.
Don't go to the beach and look at it. This isn't the time to go down to the beach to see what's going on. It's still to wait till you know what's going on. Things can change. So we have to wait to see what happens.
All right, we'll take some more questions from our viewers on Twitter here in just a minute. But right now, joining us by phone is Blacko in Tokyo.
Hi there.
As we look at pictures right now of a building that was on fire, you're in Tokyo. Tell me, let's go back to the quake itself, 8.9. Can you tell me what it was like, and did it feel like it went on forever?
Well, it probably went on for about a minute and a half, 2 minutes.
Wow.
And it was pretty shaky.
And where are you from?
Sorry, say again?
Where are you from?
I'm from Dublin, so we have no experience of this kind of thing at all. So it was pretty nerve-wracking because Tokyo is due a sort of a big quake, you know, every 80 years, and it's a bit overdue. But it seems that Tokyo has mostly survived. The outlying areas around the coastlines are still a bit dangerous. I'm watching footage of up north, is especially badly hit.
Is the power out where you are?
The power, no, we've got gas, power, and water, but apparently 4 million people are without power in Tokyo. I wouldn't be able to tell you exactly where.
What's the mood right now? Because this hit on 2:45 in the afternoon. What time is it now? And what kind of sense do you feel that people are feeling right now?
Well, mostly people are pretty shocked. It's 5 to 6 in the evening here. It kicked it off at about 3:15 local time. Mostly people are pretty shocked. There's mostly less tall buildings around here, and they're just hanging around outside the safety areas. The kids are all wearing fireproof hoods. The Japanese are very safety-minded, so you know, they will take all the precautions necessary. You know.
Yeah,
what about
closing at 6 o'clock in the evening there.
Yeah, what about
aftershocks? About every 15 minutes we're feeling aftershocks. Maybe that register about 3.
Scary feeling?
It's been unsettling, but you know, there's no point panicking, is there?
Where are you right now? Where are you? Are you in a building?
How am I, or where am I?
Where are you?
Where am I? I'm in like right smack in the middle of Tokyo, near Shinjuku.
Are you in a building, on the street? Where are you?
I'm in a building. I'm in a 3-story apartment building.
Okay.
Yeah. And it's an old building. It was built. I mean, the Japanese are fantastic at dealing with this. They've been dealing with it for thousands of years. So their buildings are fairly up to scratch. There's been some damage to some exteriors, and from what I can see in the news, but pretty much everything's still standing. at least in Tokyo anyway.
Like well, here in Southern California, you know, we're an earthquake country as well. We are always told to be prepared to have earthquake kits, water, food, etc. We're looking right now at YouTube video of just stuff coming off the shelves. Did you have that happen where you are anything come off the shelves, and were you prepared with any kind of earthquake kit?
I'd have to say no on the earthquake kit and yes on the off the shelves. And I had a cup of coffee spill over my laptop keyboard, so that doesn't work anymore.
Oh boy.
You're in an old building. Does it have retrofitting? And when it hit, did you think it was as strong as 8.9? Did you think it was that bad?
Let's see. It's hard to gauge. I've been in Tokyo 5 years, and I've felt maybe a very short 4 or 5 earthquake ones. And it was really big shaking for a minute and a half. And you know, when stuff started falling off the shelves, that was the first time I've seen that. That was a little bit unsettling, but, you know, we escaped with our lives, thankfully.
Well, out of curiosity, since you've been in some earthquakes there in Japan, why don't you have an earthquake kit? And that's something that we all can learn from, as we here in California constantly tell our viewers to have these items. So why not?
Well, I have all these items around the house anyway. It's just not specifically set up as an earthquake kit. I don't know if I'm maybe I'm just a bit too easygoing and things like that. But I'm
not trying to beat you up, Blacko.
No, it's all good. You know, I mean, you know, what's the worst that can happen? You know, you'd be thirsty for a while, but you know, people have survived worse.
Blacko, the reports are, like you said, 4 million people with no electricity. There are reports that people can't get on the trains to go home.
The trains totally stopped.
So are people just in the streets? Where do all those people go? Are they sitting in their office? What's going on?
I'd imagine, well, let's see, there's no trains moving in Tokyo at all.
But out your window, what do you see? What does it look like?
Well, I can't really see anything out my window at the buildings, but I've been outside. And I live in a sort of slightly quieter area of Tokyo, but it's as full as I've ever seen it. There's people in the streets, out of the buildings. There's nobody going onto any trains anywhere. So the traffic was all backed up because people are obviously trying to get taxis and whatever else they can do to get around Tokyo now. And I'd imagine just in typical Japanese fashion, they will just maintain sort of calm, steady patience until it's all sorted out for them.
Would you say the city has come to a stop where you're at, even though you're 200 miles away?
No, in some ways it's actually busier.
Really?
Because, you know, the earthquake marshals are around checking on the old people, this, that, and the other, you know. So, you know, people are sort of, being shown a bit of concern for each other.
Well, Blacko, we appreciate your insight and your commentary, and appreciate all that you've done to get in touch with us. We wish you well there in Tokyo, and Godspeed in a situation that's very, very difficult.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
Thank you so much.
You know, I do want to point out the issue about the earthquake preparations, and Blacko said what could be the worst of it, you're out of water for a few days. But think about the Northridge earthquake. Think about other disasters where you can't get to grocery stores, or there's a run on the grocery stores and there's no food. Really, they tell you in California, is it 3 days to be prepared for 3 days of water and food, to have that in your home? I know myself, I've got a kit in one spot by a door that you can grab this kit if you've got to get out of your home. You can grab this basket of stuff if you've got to be outside. It's in one spot, it's ready to go.
We are looking now at live pictures from Japan from a different source. We've been watching NHK, the network. This is Ustream video, and you can see there in the window we have been watching this the last couple seconds of video that comes from a different source from the internet, which is of course now our lifeline to all things in the world, and the Ustream video is different. You can see much more devastation. You can see the kind of fire and devastation that they've had there. But I just want to point out a couple things now. When we saw the worst of the tsunamis in the Fukushima area and Sendai area, that entire low-lying farm country that was just devastated by that tsunami, that first tsunami wave that hit, with all the debris and all of the houses that were wiped out. And Liz pointed out that they had some warning because the earthquake hit, and then they had about how much time did you say?
About half an hour.
About a half an hour to hear the sirens and to get out. One can only hope that all the thousands of people who lived in those farm areas were able to at least get a head start on that wave, because when that wave hit, it just devastated everything in its path. Look at the size of this fireball.
That fire. Carlos, let me point out that the Red Cross saying the biggest concern is the tsunami, the wave now higher than some Pacific islands. Can you imagine that? Higher than some
atolls
islands.
Yeah.
And that's what I was saying earlier, that when you look at the maps, if you go on the JMA, it's the Japan Meteorological Agency or Association Agency. When you go onto their maps, you can see the little islands that are little pencil marks.
Yeah.
They're completely covered.
Look at the damage that we're seeing here on Newscreen. Every building is just destroyed. The walls have come down. People out on the streets running around really have no place to go. Every building is probably unsafe to go back into. And with all the aftershocks, would you want to go back into your building?
No.
I don't think so.
This is an example of video slowly starting to come in some of the areas that are hardest hit. The government in Japan is reporting right now 5 known deaths. I'm going to guess that figure is going to change because you saw that tsunami move into certain areas. Even though they do so much to be earthquake ready with their structures, it's some serious devastation there.
It's now 6 o'clock in the evening there, and you can see that map that's flashing in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. You see the tsunami areas are flashing in red. Look at the ceiling collapse on this. Look at that. The shaking is so strong that really it's hard to really say what's going to stay up and what isn't going to stay up when you consider how much the shaking was. Look at this. This is that newsroom shot that we saw earlier from NHK in Sendai, the bureau up there.
I had somebody on Twitter ask me how you can help out, how you can help the people that have been hit by this earthquake. I always say the Red Cross is such an immediate way to give back because they don't need supplies at the moment. They don't need blankets or food. They need your money to immediately help these people who are going to be displaced. You have 4 million people without power. Imagine all the people in some of these regions, you know, without a place to go tonight, without a home, without a place to sleep.
It's going to be tough, but these images are just remarkable. We've seen them over and over again, and you just, when we first saw the cars in the water, we said, oh, they're underwater, so there must have been some sort of a flood or a break in the breakwater, but then the tsunami wave hit and just started pushing all these cars under this bridge, including boats and then houses and buildings and everything else. Here's a different view of water moving ashore and some traffic moving through there, but the relentless nature of the tsunami is just remarkable. And now as night is falling, it's going to be just a nightmare for those people living along the coast.
We talked about that water moving in. This is the shot here that is so absolutely incredible. This was a river area where the water pushed up from the tsunami, pushed up the river. Look how it just took away buildings, vehicles, farmland, and it was such an interesting note that somebody tweeted me. We are watching people die. Now, we don't know if that's true in this case, because they had some warning. Liz, we talked about that tsunami possibly being maybe a 30-minute warning for people to get out of the way. But the person who tweeted me felt so very sad at this devastation and what might be.
We talk about so much how the Japanese are prepared for this type of thing. We can only hope that that's absolutely the case. If the earthquake hit at about 2:40, give or take a minute or so, the first tsunami waves came at 3:10, 3:20, 3:40. So there was that amount of time. So we can hope that all the alarms went, I mean, immediately when there was an earthquake, people living in those areas near the coast, maybe they thought of that. We can hope that maybe they got out of there. We can hope that it's not, that the loss of life is not as bad as it may seem. We can hope.
Well, without the warning system, it certainly would have been much, much worse. Hal Eisner in the newsroom, continuing to watch the social networks, talking about this 8.9 quake that's hit Japan. Hal?
Yeah.